Alright, my apologies everyone. A little technical difficulties this morning with the phone, so I got cut off mid-sentence, and we're going to hopefully watch this podcast in two separate videos. So hopefully you jump over from video 1 into this one, which is video 2, which is a continuation of episode number 45 of the Dave Talk Sports podcast. Got a couple more minutes that I need to get out on the Andrew Luck shocking, surprising retirement. I was talking about the Indianapolis Colts fans and the fans that were in the building when Andrew Luck walked off the field for potentially the last time. Now, he wasn't playing because he's injured, but he was there at the preseason game, and he walked off, and the fans had heard the news, they'd seen the news on Twitter or wherever else, and they decided to boo him incessantly. These people, yes, they pay for the right to be there. They pay for the right to boo. I get that. I've always said that that's like your one thing as a fan. You have the right and the power to do, as long as you do it in, I guess, what you'd call a respectful, adult manner. But I can disagree with you wholeheartedly. I think these people should be disgusted with themselves, ashamed of themselves. I think when they look in the mirror, they should have a hard time looking at themselves. I just don't understand. I really don't understand. I get that this is sports, and if you put it in a vacuum, and that's what we're going to get to here in a minute, that sports is not reality. So when we talk about how much money someone's earning, we're not going to compare the quarterback who earns $30 million a year to the school teacher who earns potentially $30,000 a year. It's not a comparison. I get that. Sports is barely reality. It's its own reality. It's monopoly money. I get all of that. So if you take sports in a vacuum, fine. You decide you want to boo the guy, that's your prerogative. But I think it's gross. Andrew Luck is making a smart decision for himself in life, because sports, and especially football, is a violent game that doesn't care and doesn't give a crap about Andrew Luck and his body. Right? It's the reason why the players fight in their CBA every 10 years with the league for health insurance for life, for guaranteed contracts, for all these different things that they should, the rights, that privileges they should be afforded, but they're not. So football, more than any other sport, is a business, because a player who's run out of guaranteed money has no more guaranteed that they will have a job. Now, Andrew Luck, if healthy, is a great quarterback, would have a job. But what about the guy who's number 29, number 38, number 51, on the roster? It doesn't have any guaranteed money in his contract. Gets cut the day before the season or during the season. That happens all the time. Where's the hate of the franchise? Where are you booing the franchise? No, you're not. You're still buying tickets, and you're still showing up, and you're still watching those games, and you're still buying their food, and you're still buying their jerseys, and you're doing all these things to stuff the pockets of these billionaire owners. So you're still doing that. But when Andrew Luck makes a smart decision for himself, because Andrew Luck is a business for himself. He's an individual, but he's a business. And he's looking out for the business and well-being of himself. Having a life after football that doesn't involve concussions and trips to the doctor and potentially not remembering things or dealing with CTE, which can lead to depression and suicidal thoughts and all these other things. So he's making a smart decision for himself, and I don't begrudge him of that in any way. Now, again, if we're going to take football in a vacuum, the one negative that you can take out of this, the only negative you can take out of this, and I don't think you can really argue this either, even though people want to be fully in support of Andrew Luck in this, is the timing. Now again, I'm taking sports in a vacuum. I'm not comparing it to real life. I'm not comparing it to his injuries. I've already said I'm fully in support of what he's doing and the decision that he's making. But when he's making this announcement, he made this announcement on Saturday, which we'll call 12 days before the start of the NFL season. And it's a decision that he probably made, he says, 2 weeks prior, potentially 2, 3, or 4 weeks prior. He could have given his team 6 weeks notice. Still not a lot, but he could have done it. Now, we can't predict the future. We don't know if he's ever going to come back when he gets fully healthy. Nobody knows. Maybe he doesn't even know. But the timing of this is undoubtedly very bad. I compare it to the LeBron James decision. He did an hour-long special that was, hey, everybody look at me. He was in the right to do that. He's LeBron James. He could do whatever he wants in the NBA world. And he could have decided, and he did decide to go wherever he wanted, and he left Cleveland and he went to Miami. Now, he didn't give Cleveland his city, his town, Akron, Ohio, and his team, the Cleveland Cavaliers. He didn't give them the heads up. He didn't sit down with them and give them the, hey, by the way, I'm leaving. And he did this decision publicly in a way that even he admitted after the fact wasn't a good look. But that was the only negative you could take out of it. Not his decision, the actual decision, not his right to make the decision, but how he did it and how he left. That was the only negative about it. And this is the same thing with Andrew Luck. The only negative about it is when he decided to do this. And he could have done it in a press conference. Now, I get that this information got leaked before he wanted it to get out there, but he also has to read the room, read the tea leaves, know that anyone with this information could be paid off to give this information out early, and the second that Adam Schefter gets that information, it's to the world. That's not his fault. Anyone blaming Adam Schefter is very sadly misinformed on how these things work. It's not Adam Schefter's job to keep things in. It's his job, once he gets the information, to give it out to us. That's how he became Adam Schefter, the number one insider in the NFL, in the entire world. So do not blame him. So the Colts leaked it themselves? All right, fine. Andrew Luck needs to know that was potentially going to happen. So you wanted to say, I'm going to have a press conference and do it the right way? Well, sorry, you don't get that right when you make this decision 12 days publicly before the start of the season. So it leaves the Colts in a lurch. It leaves them with Jacoby Brissett and no backup. Sorry to the guy who is the backup now. Nobody's heard of you. And if I'm the Colts now, in the football world, I'm reaching out to anyone with a decent backup. The Titans with Ryan Tannehill, the Saints with Teddy Bridgewater, even the Dolphins with Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen, Josh McCown now with the Eagles. There's some other guys that I'm leaving out. Maybe even the Giants, Eli Manning, if they actually want to start with Daniel Jones and ship Eli Manning out of town, go right ahead. Maybe even Blake Bortles in LA. All right, so these are the options that you have. There's some other guys. Maybe you call the Redskins. Maybe you say you guys are starting Case Keenum. You still got Dwayne Haskins. Ship me Colt McCoy for a second or third round pick. These are all the things that the Colts can do to move on in their football lives. But I do not begrudge Andrew Luck at all. He has the right to make this decision, and I think it is a smart decision. Good for you, Andrew Luck. Bravo. You could have done it a little bit sooner. But other than that, do your thing, man. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your money. Enjoy your wife. Enjoy your kids. Enjoy your life. Good for you. This has been episode number 45 of the Dave Talk Sports podcast in 2 parts. Hope you enjoyed both, which were approximately 9 minutes each. And until tomorrow, enjoy your Monday morning. The sun is now up, 6:33 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Dave Ettinger of the Dave Talk Sports video podcast. On that note, see you.